Hello, welcome back. So I'm just going to make a video on how to essentially cherry pick or look at planning for the next alt season, which isn't exactly likely to be taking place anytime soon, but that just gives us more time to plan. So first of all, I'm just going to say I'm not your financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. This is just what I would be likely to be doing in preparation for the alt season when it eventually comes around, and how to spot it. Okay, so this is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Now, if you have special indicators and expensive software, you'll have these on your trading setups, but I don't, and so I'm looking at this primarily. And what we can see when we look at this is the big orange chart, the big orange graph. That is Bitcoin. Okay, so that shows the market cap of Bitcoin, and compared to all the others. Others being the grey, and that consists of all the others that are not listed at the bottom here, and then all the others at the bottom here. So the rule of thumb when it comes to picking an alt for the alt season, first of all, when an alt season begins, the strong get to move first, and the strong being the top 5, 10 to 15, they will certainly move first. Okay. When the alt season begins is when we see a dramatic dip in the dominance chart. So we had a 60% apart here when it came to Bitcoin's dominance. It came back down all the way down here, where we see to 56%, and on that we started to see the moves up at this point, and then everybody couldn't sort of move down as a result of that. Then Bitcoin has recently been picking up, dipped here, creating a small spike with the altcoins, and again we've moved right back up here to 64, almost 65%. Yeah, 65% now. So what we need to see is we need to see a dip in this, okay, and we need to see a significant dip in this, and then there will be a crossover as this is falling. It drags the other alts down with it, but as they're all falling at the moment, they're reaching new lows. Those new lows will be met, and then the crossover will take place. And generally, you would generally expect to see with most of the alts large moves up, probably higher than Bitcoin moved on the percentage-wise anyway. So how do we go about picking them? And other than the top 10, which I'll just show you one as an example, we'll go to Litecoin. We're on Litecoin here on a 4-hourly chart. Now, when we look at other alts, we could call them first-rate alts and second-rate alts. Okay, anything out of the top 15 we could class as a second-rate alt. Now, that's not exactly true because they're all top coins generally, but they're second-rate. So the first-rate alts should be holding a certain value at this point. Now, when we look at the tether pairing for Litecoin, it's been going sideways. Now, Bitcoin has been going up, but this has kind of made small moves with Bitcoin, but it's trending sideways. That's showing relative strength. We have a look at the Bitcoin pairing with Litecoin, and we see the opposite. We see the Satoshi values falling. We see sort of new lows being put in, and might even revisit these lows from as low as last year. Now, one thing to bear in mind is, with Litecoin specifically, is there is a halving event coming up. So that is one of the things that's going to be keeping its value on Tether, because in about 4 weeks' time the rewards for mining Litecoins will be halved, and so that has been priced in. I expect that's given it its relative strength. But with or without that, we can just look at the chart, specifically look at the chart, and see that actually as the Satoshi values are falling, the Tether pairings are kind of staying equal, showing that if you're looking to make a trade, and when an alt season begins, that this coin here is certainly one of the ones that will be moving first, and probably one of the ones that will be moving highest. We'll look at another example. So we'll look at Cardano, so ADA. So this isn't in the top 10, but this is another one that should make strong moves, and I can show you why. So basically, this one is different in the respect that when we're looking at the tether pairing, it has been making moves. We are on a daily chart here. It has been making moves, but it's not been able to make moves back up to a previous high. And this is where we all started here when the bull trend began, and we made huge gains, massive gains up faster than Bitcoin, and higher than Bitcoin, and then complete collapse all the way down to here. We made another spike, and generally it's been looking bullish, but with the Bitcoin dominance as it is at the moment, it's coming down, and it's probably going to come down a little further. Now this indicator, I mean, we could look at the indicators in general, but we are on the 200 EMA here, which is holding as a support, but the way that Bitcoin's going and the way that Bitcoin's likely to go would suggest that this will break, and we will actually start to make new lows again. Now if we have a look at the Bitcoin ADA pairing, we can see how tragic it really is actually. We broke beneath all these supports here, which should have held, but the way that it's gone now is we're actually putting in brand new lows that we haven't seen since actual last year. So we may be looking at putting in a bottom now, if you look at it in that respect. But at the moment, Bitcoin is dominant, so you could make a gamble and make a purchase at these Satoshi levels here, but the chances are they're going to come down even lower because Bitcoin's dominance is so high and it's moving up. So it's not the perfect time to be making any decisions on this. But these are the sort of things you want to be looking at: new lows, relative strength, like I showed you with Bitcoin, Litecoin, and new lows with the Satoshi value. Another one that I've been looking at here would be EOS. Okay, EOS. Look, we can see with on the hourly chart we're sort of plateaued. We're relatively stable. Looking on the daily, we have made huge big moves, but now we're finding what would be considered perhaps significant supports and relative strength, despite the Satoshi values being demolished. So have a look on the daily chart. Satoshi values being absolutely demolished, putting in new lows. But when we look at the tether pairing, relative strength. And another one that I'd show you, and a coin that I personally really do think will do very well in an alt season, is the BitTorrent token. So we'll go to the daily chart. It's only a new coin, so it's not great to look at. So this is the tether pairing. Again, we see relative strength in comparison to demolished Satoshi value. Putting in bottoms here, new lows, and maybe even putting in an even newer low. If we can go beneath 9, it'll be not an all-time low, but a very, very low. But when we look at the tether pairing, we see relative strength. Now, not all coins look like this. Let's just, for example, let's just go and have a look on, see what else is available to look at. Okay, so Matic's come up there. Matic is a difficult one to gauge, to be honest, because it's very new. But let's just have a look at who's really suffering at the moment. That's too new to look at. That's too new. So all these coins are very new, so you don't really want to look at the ones that are extremely new. We have a look at this guy here and see what this one looks like. What we want to see is an example of the tether pairing being demolished on the long term alongside the Satoshi value. Well, to be honest, without searching high and low for a coin, I don't have an example for you, but you see what I mean. Actually, this one does look actually quite good, to be honest. Does actually look quite good. So a lot of the alts are all following the same thing, which would suggest that they're all going to start to move up at the same rates. But remember how I said it, the strong move first, so the top 15 will certainly move first, then the money will come out of those guys into the second rate alts, and then eventually all go back into Bitcoin. And that is how I am going to be trading these. However, I will not be trading them anytime soon, as we keep seeing more and more gains with Bitcoin. We need to see this back down again beneath 60%, and then we can start to talk about an alt season. So no dates for you guys, but I do appreciate you tuning in and watching. Please leave your comments on what coins that you feel like you might want to be looking at for the alt season and when you think you might be starting. And I hope you all have a very nice day. Take it easy. See ya.